Somewhere in the Netherlands, it's a Wednesday afternoon, and a father is already done with work. He's picking his daughter up by bike, in no particular hurry. No guilt, no frantic glance at his phone, no apology to a boss. In much of the world, modern parenting feels like a second full-time job. Packed schedules, constant worry, the nagging sense you're never doing enough. Dutch parents seem to have opted out of that. They're consistently among the most relaxed parents in the world, and somehow their kids turn out to be among the happiest. So what do they know that the rest of us don't? The answer isn't that they care less, it's that an entire country quietly decided parents shouldn't have to run themselves into the ground.
Part 1. The parents behind the happiest kids. Meet Sana's parents. If you've seen our other videos, you know Sana, a confident, cheerful 10-year-old. But today, the camera turns to the two people raising her, and the first thing you notice is what's missing. There's no frantic energy, no overflowing color-coded calendar, no quiet panic that they're falling behind some invisible standard. They're present, they're calm, they have time. In a lot of countries, that combination feels almost impossible, like something only the wealthy or the lucky can afford. In the Netherlands, it's closer to the default. And it starts with something most parents never get to choose: time. Part 2. A country that protects time. Here's the foundation almost everything else rests on. The Netherlands is famous for part-time work. A huge share of the population works part-time, and crucially, part-time workers have the same rights as full-timers. That one legal idea changed everything. Working fewer hours isn't a career death sentence. It's a normal, respected choice. The result? The Dutch have some of the shortest average working weeks in the world. So Sana's mother might work 4 days. Her father might leave early to do the school run. Neither feels like they're getting away with something. They're just living the way the system was built to allow. And when parents have time, the panic drains out of parenting. You're not squeezing your child into the cracks of an exhausting day. Your child is the day.
Part 3. The family that eats together.
Watch what they do with that time, and it looks almost startlingly simple. They sit down together, often. Dutch families are famous for eating together, and Dutch children eat breakfast with their families more regularly than kids almost anywhere on earth. No one starts until everyone's at the table. It's a small ritual, but it sends a quiet message. You belong here, and you matter. And here's the relief hidden inside it. Connection like this doesn't require money, tutoring, or a packed itinerary. Dutch parents aren't stressed about engineering the perfect childhood. They're just around. Present at breakfast, present after school, present in the ordinary moments. It turns out, being there is doing far more than most exhausting parenting ever could.
Part 4. The culture of good enough.
But time alone doesn't explain it. The deepest reason Dutch parents relax is a mindset other cultures find almost shocking. The Dutch are famously at peace with good enough. There's even a gentle cultural idea sometimes called the 6 culture, the notion that a solid, passing grade is perfectly fine. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be okay. So Dutch parents generally don't push their kids to be number 1. Repeating a year isn't treated as a family catastrophe. A child choosing a practical path instead of a prestigious one isn't a disappointment. Think about how much parental stress simply evaporates the moment "my child must be exceptional" turns into "my child must be okay and happy." Dutch parents let their children make their own choices and their own mistakes without rushing in to fix everything. They're not chasing a trophy, they're raising a content, capable human being. And those are very different jobs.
Part 5. But isn't that just lazy?
Now, let's be honest, because the obvious criticism is right there. Isn't good enough just a polite word for low ambition? Doesn't all this relaxing risk under-challenging kids? It's a fair question. Critics do argue that a culture this relaxed might not push its most talented children hard enough. And of course, the Dutch model isn't pure magic. It rests on a wealthy economy, strong social support, and policies many countries simply don't have. You can't just decide to relax your way to this if the system around you punishes it. But here's the part that's hard to argue with. By the numbers, the Dutch aren't failing their kids. Their children are among the happiest, healthiest, and most secure in the world. So maybe the relaxation isn't the opposite of good parenting. Maybe, when the system has your back, it's what good parenting can finally look like. So why do Dutch parents stress less? Not because they love their kids any less, but because they live in a country that decided parents are people too. People who deserve time, rest, and a life of their own. Protected time, permission to be good enough, trust in their kids. Those three things quietly dissolve the anxiety so many parents carry, as if it were mandatory. And the children raised by calmer parents, they don't turn out worse. By almost every measure, they turn out happier. Which leaves the rest of us with one uncomfortable question. We often assume our stress is the price of being a good parent. But what if a lot of it was never helping our kids at all?